What up, YouTube? Case Primary back at you with another movie review. And this time it is not of a movie that's actually on DVD and Blu-ray. This is actually a review of a movie that's actually out in theaters right now. Like, it's still playing in theaters. Actually, it just opened a few days ago. So, yeah. This is a movie that I heard about a little earlier this year. And, you know, the minute I heard about it, I told myself I must see that movie. A lot of people are going to hate on it. You know, they think it's going to be really stupid and bad, but I personally thought it was really enjoyable. And the movie I'm talking about is Pixels, and to prove that I've seen it, here's my ticket stub. Paid $5 for a 2 o'clock matinee. Now, before I get too involved with this video, like I do with a lot of my movie reviews, major spoilers. If you do not like spoilers, do not watch this video. Come back when you've seen the movie. Alright, so hopefully you will, if you want to stick around, that's good, but if you don't want to get spoiled, bye-bye. Okay, are they gone? Are they gone? Larry, are they gone? Are they gone? Oh wait, there's one more still going away. Okay, he's gone. We're good. We're good. Okay. Now, this movie is supposedly based on a short film that came out in 2010. It opens on a video game tournament in 1982, where basically they take footage of the video games that are played in the arcade for a tournament, and they basically put them in a time capsule, which is going to be sent off into space, in hopes of contacting extraterrestrial life. Unfortunately, the aliens misinterpret the video game feeds as declarations of war, so they attack Earth as those famous video games like Galaga, Centipede, Donkey Kong, Tetris, Frogger, Pac-Man, Space Invaders, a lot of old classic arcade games. The criteria that Chris Columbus and Happy Madison Productions had to consider when they made this movie is that any video games that they put in the movie had to be made and popular before 1982. That was their criteria. So you're not going to see anything like Spyro, Crash Bandicoot. I know I'm getting into console gaming, but like game characters that came out after that year, you're not going to see. So like Zelda, Sonic the Hedgehog, the later versions of Mario. Shoot. Yeah, that type of stuff you're not going to see. Like, it's all old school gaming, like games that came out like during the 60s up to 82. But it focuses around a few different characters: Sam Brenner, William Cooper, Ludlow Lamonsoff, and Eddie Plant. I'll start with Sam Brenner. Sam Brenner is a home theater installer who's played by Adam Sandler. He was a kid in 1982, and apparently he plays games kind of like how I do. He takes a strategic... Oh, that's something from Skype. He takes kind of a strategic approach. Like, he tries to find a pattern in the game when he plays it. And that's why he ended up becoming the 1982 Pac-Man World Champion. Because he found the pattern that the ghosts move in when he's playing the games. And he works in the modern day as a home theater installer. And he is one of the few people that are contacted by the U.S. government to fight these things. And his game of specialty is, again, Pac-Man. As I said before, he's really, he doesn't believe he can make a future off of it, He loved it, and he's kind of offended, like, when in the beginning of the movie, when the kid talks about games that he thinks are the classics that, are really not. I can kind of relate to that, because I was born in, little backstory of mine, I was born in 95. So I was brought up in the era of arcade gaming and classic arcade games. Before the stuff they have out nowadays, I grew up going to arcades, when I was in elementary school, playing old school Pac-Man, Galaga, some of those old school shooter games like Operation Wolf, if anybody remembers that. And, just the days like when you didn't have arcade games at home, or you had to, you didn't have video games all the time. So I can kind of relate to that part with Sam Brenner. William Cooper, played by Kevin James. He is currently the President of the United States. And his approval ratings are not very good right now. At the time, back in 82, he was Sam Brenner's his best friend. And his game of specialty, I believe, was either Centipede or Space Invaders. But, he really doesn't play that much of a big role with the arcaders. Again, because he's the president. He's kind of struggling a little bit, with spending time with his family and maintaining his presidential job. But he just joined up for the final battle against the boss at the end of the movie. But they never really specify what his game of expertise is. Ludlow Lamassoff, the Wonder Kid. His game of choice, again, is Centipede. He knows the best about Centipede. And much like, he was kind of like Eddie, he was kind of like really quiet back in the day, kind of a wallflower, not really noticed. He's played by Josh Gad, who many of you guys might recognize as the voice of Olaf from Frozen, or if you saw the Jobs movie that came out back in 2013, he played Steve Wozniak. But in this movie, he's been following he's a big cyber hacker. Like, he always believes in conspiracy theories. The kind of guy that you'd expect to work for, like, the Global Inquirer or something like that. He always believes that there's something strange going on behind every historical event. He's even married to the idea that JFK shot first. Watches too much Star Wars. Eddie Plant apparently ended up in prison. He apparently technically won that world championship back in 1982 against Sam Brenner, but technically he cheated because he had cheat codes engraved into the lens of his sunglasses. And a couple years later, he ended up getting arrested and sent to prison time for 8 years. But because of his willingness to help out with the video games, he was given a full pardon and no parole. Like, free to go. He was portrayed by Peter Dinklage, and for his character, Chris Columbus and the rest of the casting team actually inspire him by the real-life Pac-Man and Donkey Kong world champion Billy Mitchell. Eddie Plant's character was inspired by the real-life world champ. And Eddie Plant is kind of like the hotshot. Like, he thinks he's the best of the best. He thinks, like, he deserves to be the best because he's self-proclaimed. His nickname is Fire Blast. It's not really a nickname if you give it to yourself. And that's pretty much it for the arcaders, the main characters. There's also the woman who works for the military, who's kind of like their director. An appearance is made by the Professor Iwatani, the creator of Pac-Man. He's fictionally portrayed throughout the majority of the film, but the real one does make a cameo as an electrician, or as a repairman. And just the amount of nostalgic games that appear, like I before mentioned, Pac-Man, Centipede, Galaga, Space Invaders, Donkey Kong, Q*bert, Tetris, to name a few. It really is something like, if you grew up during that time where you love retro gaming like I do, you will love this movie. I mean, the part where we see all the classic video game characters, I remember as they were all storming down, trying to figure out like who's who and where they're from, My only real complaint with my experience was going where apparently they decided to bring a bunch of people decided to bring their kids. And the kids nowadays, they're kind of married to the idea that they're going to see this generation's video game characters, but imagine they're surprised when they don't see them at all. Another funny backstory is that I was working on the line of the grocery store I work at, and this woman came through, and I was talking to her about the movie, and this kid was talking about the characters he's hoping to see, like Master Chief and Marcus Phoenix and Link. And I tell him, those games aren't going to appear because it's old school gaming, like Pac-Man and all that. And what he said kind of made me throw up in my mouth a little bit. I was kind of surprised by what he said. But I'm not going to hold it against him. He's a kid. They don't know much. But would I recommend this movie? If you are a gamer, definitely. Young or old, veteran or rookie, I would definitely recommend seeing this movie. I mean, a lot of critics are bashing it like they bashed like that god-awful Super Mario Brothers movie that came out back in the day, or any other live-action movie based on a video game. But Pixels is different, At least they try, Back in the day, they just kind of did it half-assed. This time, they actually did their homework and, tried to make it look good. So, I give them credit where credit is due. So, would I recommend this movie? Hell yeah, I would. I would see it again if given the chance. I definitely will buy it when it comes out on Blu-ray and DVD. Yeah, I would recommend it. So I guess that's about it. Later, guys. I am out of here.